Do you think that it will, because some of the Pac-12 games that they've had in that time slot are not marquee Pac-12 matchups? Do you think that you guys can maybe be a trailblazer for that 9:15 Central slot being a marquee spot for games?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think it's a great question. I think it certainly can be, and could be. And, when we think about, the future, and, particularly the right matchups and, what does conference membership look like? So all of that, but, that could be a really, really positive time slot for us moving forward.
Mack, Brett Yormark, he was in Provo. He's been to Houston. He's been elsewhere. He had the comment last week about looking out west, and of course that stirred a few things up. You just mentioned that in negotiations with ESPN and Fox, and I don't know what the technical term is based on open market, whatever else. How do you think he has handled his first month and 2 weeks on the job with so much going on when he arrived, and even before he arrived?
Yeah, I think tremendously well. If I'm grading him, I'd grade him an A+, right? Anytime you're starting a new position and particularly one of this magnitude, you're drinking water out of a fire hose, and then you throw on top of it, the whole conference realignment piece, and USC and UCLA, and then you also add in that he hasn't lived in this space, college athletics. So I think just as he's balanced everything, the conference membership, what that may or may not look like in the future, the TV piece, the early negotiation with both of our TV partners, going out and meeting and going to the various campuses and hiring staff. I mean, there's been a lot, and I think he's done a tremendous job.
When he set out west, do you think he meant adding someone in the Mountain Time, Pacific Time, or a combination of someone that has both? I think it's either or both, and I think it remains to be seen. So I don't think it's specifically Mountain or specifically Pacific, but could be one or the other or both, and time will tell.
Mack, this is kind of a random question, but based on some of the teams like Notre Dame, A&M getting upset in guarantee games that they pay for, when you schedule those, is there a nervous level of who are we paying to come in here and play us, and we better not get beat?
Oh yeah, no, that's real. It's real for every athletic director, and those games, quote unquote buy games, or games that we're supposed to win, and they're hard. That Appalachian State team, how they played against North Carolina, and then obviously what they did in College Station. That's a real team now. They're really, really good, and so yeah, I do think you worry about that. You worry about it, probably, I don't know, maybe even more when you talk about an FCS team, and having to deal with that, and schools have experienced that as well, losing to an FCS team. So no, you worry about it. There's real pressure when you think about it.
Mack, the announcement that came, and we didn't get a chance to visit with you last week, but the college football playoff expansion, although there is still a lot of work to be done, there were actually some comments that were made that perhaps the college presidents were a little bit frustrated with college administrators, athletic administrators, and conference commissioners. Is that the tone that you got by what they decided to do and push this thing forward?
Yeah, maybe, a little bit of, frustration or, maybe just saying, hey, we're going to press this and take charge. And, we need to expand. We think that the model that was unveiled, a year and a half ago was carefully well thought out, and we need to go and we need to move. I think that there's a lot of work, and I know that the CFP is trying to figure out whether or not this can begin in 24 and 2025, years 11 and 12, or does it have to wait until we begin the new cycle? I would like to think that we'll find a way to go early, whether or not it's 24, as early as 24, but I think there's some momentum to try to do that. And I'm excited about it. So I think it's really good for college football. I think, you're going to have to figure out the schedule and, do we move the season up a week to accommodate? Do we not? All of that is stuff that's going to need to be worked out and be worked out fairly quickly. We're going to try to start in 2024.
Mack, do you think that not the New Year's Six bowls, but the other bowls will also be on board with changing their schedule to accommodate the playoff because they would like to continue to exist?
Yeah, I think they will. I think everybody's, wondering and having that conversation. I think logically, those first round games on campus sites, there's got to be a conversation about what do those look like? Are those kind of home games, so to speak? And so the home team and they control all the inventory except for X amount of tickets, and for the visiting team, and is that a CFP event? I mean, so I think there's a lot of those details, a ton of those details to be worked out. And I think those bowl games are going to, wait. I don't know. I was going to use the word patiently. I don't know if that's the case, but they're going to wait to see what that looks like, and then, how do we continue to have our bowl games?
Did the college football discussion that did come up, or what they released, come up a week or two ago? Did that end for now any discussion that people might break away and others might be left behind?
Say that again, Smoak. I'm not sure I followed that.
That's okay. You had heard, and we have discussed that, and you had always said it would not happen. And I don't think it would ever happen either, but this Power Two, or the two conferences would run a national championship on their own. And it was, hey, when Texas OU decided to leave, or USC, UCLA, there was like, hey, what about us? Where are we going? You've had to deal with that. Do you feel like the announcement a couple of Fridays ago ended any type of, at least anytime soon, discussion that anyone will be left out, or there would be another championship playoff?
Yeah, no, and thank you for asking that again. I wasn't sure where you were headed, but I feel like with the expanded playoff number of teams and access, because I think the access is important. This idea of FBS, splitting into two different divisions, two separate championships, there's been the talk of the group of five having their own. I think that goes away. And so I think the expansion probably solidifies, all FBS inclusive, moving forward. So yeah, I think you're right by making that statement.
Mack, thank you very much. We'll see you.